This is a video about some of the main sites that I saw and that I went to go see in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And I just wanted to show some historical pictures to give context to what we'll be watching in the video. So this is the station I wanted to go see. I'd seen pictures of it. It looked fantastic. This is the Philadelphia and Reading Depot, built in 1900. The former Reading line, which was later taken over by the Penn Central, and trains operated here until 1963. So to give some historical perspective, this is a postcard from 1905, and each of these historical pictures for the most part are from the website Lebanon that I found, and I thought it was an excellent site, so I'm going to give them credit each time I show a visual that comes from their website. I highly recommend checking it out. They have interesting narrative that goes along with their pictures. So here's the same angle that we were looking at, but with a train at the station in 1905. And then this is a few years later in 1908, and the building at the left, the Lebanon Valley House, it's no longer there, unfortunately. So this is a couple decades later, 1925, and that Lebanon House is still there in the background, now gone. And this is a picture of a train that came through Lebanon on its last day. This is in Reading, Pennsylvania, but it just shows you how scaled down the service was at the end. There was just one passenger car and a baggage/mail car pulled by kind of a utilitarian-looking engine. And I read that in its last days, they were only having 10 paying customers a day from Harrisburg to Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And much further back in the day, they used to have dozens of trains that would come through the town of Lebanon, but this was just one train a day in each direction at the very end. This is a picture of the train station. Was fixed up by the Farmers Trust Company, and they occupied the station for like 25 years until 2002. So it was good that it was being reused so that it was being kept fixed up. And here's a picture from today that I took when I was there. It's a great looking station. I don't know if they're using it for anything inside, but at least it's being kept up. It's just a terrific looking station. Hopefully it can be reused as a train station at some day. I comment on that in the video. So this building was like a block away on North 8th Street, and I walked all around it. To me, it looked like a train station, but since it was so close to the other station, I didn't think it was a train station, so I was trying to figure out what it was. It's now occupied by an insurance company who's been there for many years, and they too have fixed up this building and kept it fixed up, which is great. It's the former Cornwall and Lebanon station, and it's actually older than the Reading Depot that we just looked at. This was built in 1885, and it was expanded in 1912, and the original station is what you see projecting out front with the Dutch-style slanted roof going up and a little tower at the top. And the addition was the wing, most of the wing to the left. And they did a great job. It looks all like it was all built at the same time. So it was nice that they didn't try to skimp on anything. It matches the first original part of the station. So this is looking west across North 8th Street. And now I'll show you some historical pictures from the Lebanon site. So here's a picture of the station, and the trains look almost tiny coming out of the station. This is looking east, and the other depot we were looking at is over to the left, and you see these buildings in the background along North 8th Street. They're no longer there. So it had a train shed along the north side of the station that's no longer there. So here's a picture before they extended the station to the south, just the original station and the train shed, and really a interesting, beautiful picture. 1911. And here's a picture in 1920 after they built the extension to the south in 1912. And see what I mean? It blends right in with the original station, and the train shed is still there. And one thing also of note is there were like trolley tracks in North 8th Street. So it was really a transit hub, not to mention the fact that it was only a block away from the other train station. And by the way, both train lines went east-west. Back in the day, there was this competition between railroads, and they would go to the expense of building beautiful stations right close to each other. Something. Passenger train service at this station only lasted until the 1930s, so it really has not served as a train station for a very long time. All this expense and effort that they put into building stations back then for them to really be used for a relatively short amount of time. From 1885 until the 1930s, it's only like 50 years or so. So this is a typical picture from the 1970s when everybody was letting all these beautiful historic structures go, and same thing here, really fallen hard on its luck. The train shed is gone along the right side of the building, and the roof is looking kind of dilapidated, and they don't know what to do with it, and they were talking about leveling it. Why? Probably to build a parking lot or something, but it ultimately was saved, thank goodness. So switching gears, this is another building that I took a video of as I was walking along Cumberland Street, the main street in downtown Lebanon. So this is the Mann Building. It's quite eye-catching. This shows the building right at the time it was finished being built in 1903, and originally it was built for kind of what you would think of as a modern usage of a building these days. It was mixed-use commercial on the ground floor, second floor, I believe, and then the third and fourth floors were office-type usages, and then the top floor was residential. So this building had it all. And the picture on the right, I think, is of the construction workers who came out on the little balustrades there. And then the building later became a bank, and this is what it looked like on the interior. It was very nice. Everything was very nice back in the day. So let me show you some scenes from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I thought it was really an architectural powerhouse of a town. Really got a lot of interesting buildings, and it doesn't have the industry that it once had, and the first thing we'll go by are some of the factories, some of which are being reused, but there was a big steel plant, Bethlehem Steel, in Lebanon at one time and everything. So things have to keep evolving economically for our cities to remain viable. But this is definitely one city that you want to keep viable because it's got so much great historic architecture. So let's look at Lebanon, Pennsylvania. I'm in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and this looks like a huge plant. I think I read that they had a big steel plant at one time here. So it looks like there's still some sort of businesses going on in the buildings. And this is fairly new, this building. More big plants along the train tracks. I'm here in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and I just had to check out their downtown and their old train station, which I just saw a picture of it. It looked fantastic. They had a couple of train stations, and there was a picture of one on the Reading Railroad. This building looks really cool too. And there's some kind of downtown street fair going on. Oh, what a beautiful church. I think it's a Lutheran church. So when I got detoured, you could look down the street and there were a lot of people down here. But let me see. Maybe I overshot it a little bit. So I'm looking for the street name of this main street in Lebanon. Okay, the action is going on down here. Since I have the street barricaded off, I'll take advantage of that and walk right in the middle of the street. Whatever street it is that I'm on, the better to look at the architecture. Every building's different. So they're having a car rally here. Some of these cars, I don't know, are they really vintage? That one definitely is with the hood up. Glad they're having this car rally so I can look at the architecture and the cars.
You had it 2 weeks, and it was the Mauer ticket.
The Mann Building. It used to be the Farmers Trust Company. It's like an apartment house now.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I was really bad about that. I felt bad about that, you know?
Funnel cakes. You get coffee. I thought maybe they had more like food. What a terrific building this one is. Got everything, you even have army vehicles. Some real roadsters here. Look at this sweet ride here. Wow. I can only imagine what it'd be like to see some of these cars driving to this event. I love this car here. A Bonneville. Look at that. Look at the colors in here. Oof. Look at the back hood. So it goes down for a couple more blocks. So I think I saw the main historical part of the main street. Just had to look at this 57 T-Bird. Walked right by it before. Sweet. Bank temperature is correct. It says it's 101 degrees. Maybe reflecting off of the asphalt.
Whatever they had later on, dude.
And looking at the architecture just past the west end of the car festival. Love those round windows up top there in the yellow corner of the building. And this church says 1874 on the side. Narrow little building here. It looks like it's never been cleaned. It's so narrow. And this YMCA is for sale. Nice old building. So this is definitely what I came here to see in Lebanon. What a beautiful station. I think it's the former Reading station. Amazing how much thought and work went into building these stations and then for them to no longer be used. The train doesn't stop here in Lebanon anymore. It could go to Reading, it could go to Harrisburg from here. Some wind here, but I'm using my phone. These are some really interesting Victorians, by the way. And there's a unbelievable mansion the other way, which I'll take a look at after I look at the station here. Really some incredible architecture in Lebanon. What a tower. And the platform canopy. Probably stopped having passenger service in the 60s. Maybe as late as 1970, but I'll double check on that. So right across the street, some of these buildings are kind of beat up looking. Not that great, but possibly if they ever had train service again, this would be a more popular place in town. All right, let me go look at that mansion I was talking about over here. I think I read that Lebanon is now nearly 50% Hispanic, and maybe it's largely due to the Puerto Rican community moving here. I know that's the case with Reading, which is now, I read, almost 80% Hispanic, and it's mostly Puerto Ricans fleeing the island of Puerto Rico. So Pennsylvania's cities are very Hispanic, surprisingly. So this is the mansion I was talking about, just half a block away from the train station. What a mansion. Looks like it's got a Dutch style of architecture. Let's focus in on what this might mean up here. I will have to look it up, I'm not going to guess. So they have a creek that's kind of channelized, like you'd see in Los Angeles, right here by the mansion. And here we are with the lake behind us. Fantastic. I'll see if I can find any kind of plaque. It has to be on the National Register. It looks like it's being used as an insurance agency now, Strickler. Let me see if I can find out here. It's good to film it from this side just so I have the sunlight behind me. Still looking for clues as to what it used to be originally. Well, lest there be no doubt, it's on the National Register of Historic Places. I just don't know what it is or was. Like a stairway right inside. More details on the north side. Take one last look around the front here as the wind picks up a little bit. It's almost like the front door was in the back. This is the side facing the street. By the way, just for reference, we're on 8th Street at C-L Street. And there's our train station across the way. So, take a last look at the station. So, that must be like the freight house over there to the right, and the passenger area here to the left. All right, Pennsylvania. Time to have more than one east-west train line in this state. Take advantage of your existing infrastructure. Help revitalize your downtowns here in Lebanon.